Welcome back. I'm Richard Hosnote, and I welcome you back to the Wisdom Inspired Life YouTube channel, and I also have the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast with listeners in more than 70 countries. I'm coming to you today, as I am in most cases, from my home in Prescott, Arizona, and if you're ever in the neighborhood, stop on by. This is another in the series of Words of Wisdom, which conveniently becomes the WOW series. Okay? And in this particular series, I'm sharing with you words of wisdom, quotes, that have been very important in my life and from sources that have been very important in my life. And today I'm going to be sharing some quotes that particularly touched me as I was reading them very recently from Paramahansa Yogananda's book, The Second Coming of Christ, The Resurrection of Christ Within You. It is a book that gives great insights and understandings into the Christian Bible from the perspective of a God-realized, enlightened avatar, however you want to call it, being. The highest level of consciousness that we have on planet Earth, that has been on planet Earth in a broadly public way. Okay? And we'll put those qualifiers around it. And as I've shared with you earlier, Paramahansa Yogananda is my personal beloved guru, founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship, great resource in terms of work that he has shared with the world. He passed in 1952. His has many books, but one of them, Autobiography of Yogi, is consistently ranks in the top 10% of spirituality books sold each year on Amazon. And I always find that rather remarkable for somebody who passed in 1952. And a little trivia thing that I've shared with you before, that when Steve Jobs passed, on his iPad he had one book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And it's a book that he read every year at least once, according to Steve Jobs, since his college years. Okay? For what it is worth. Okay? So let's get into these series of quotes. Now, these are quotes that I've excerpted from a relatively small section, so they're kind of all connected here. Okay? The first one. Recognition of the immanence of God. God is everywhere. Can begin as simply as expanding one's love in an ever-widening circle. So if you want to recognize, to experience God, simply start by expanding your love into an ever-widening circle, from those really close to you to those that are close to you, to community, to the planet. Expanding your love is a way of experiencing and getting to know God. And by the way, getting to know God's pretty cool. Next, man condemns himself to limitation whenever he thinks solely of his own little self, his own family, his own nation. Okay? Inherent in the evolution of nature and man back to God is the process of expansion. Now, a quote that'll come up here in a couple minutes. We are in an evolutionary cycle. Expansion of awareness, expansion of levels of consciousness, expansion of connection to the world around us is one of the major themes of the evolutionary path we are on right now. Okay? Inherent in the evolution of nature and man back to God is the process of expanding. Very similar to what I talked about in just the previous one about expanding your love. Okay? Expansion. Getting beyond yourself, getting beyond your small community and everything. Okay? Expansion. Here's the other side of this. One who disconnects himself or herself from the happiness of welfare of others, has already condemned himself or herself by isolation from Spirit, God, that pervades all souls. For he does not extend himself in love and service to God in others, disregards the redeeming power of connection with the universality of Christ. We need to connect with others. Be involved, be aware of their happiness and welfare. Okay? That is a major theme and message. Okay? Next, each human being has been given the power to do good. So use it. The power to do good. If he fails to utilize that attribute, his level of spiritual evolution is little better than the instinctive self-interest of the animal. Whoa! Each human being has been given the power to do good. I mean, that's what this YouTube channel and my podcast is all about. Being more caring and compassionate towards others, doing good. Yeah, it'll come back to you in unexpected ways. But you don't do it because you want it to come back to you. Do it because it's the right thing. Okay? If you don't, your spiritual evolution stymies. And if you go to the dark side, it reverses. You can actually, your spiritual capabilities can actually seriously deteriorate. Okay? But the good news from Yogananda, a God-realized being, is each human being has been given the power to do good. Why not use it? Lastly, one who looks not to the parts, but to the whole, discerns the purpose of creation. That without exception, we are moving inexorably towards universal salvation. The theme of all of this, expansion, towards universal salvation as a human race. All rivers are moving toward the ocean. The rivers of our lives are moving toward God. I might, in some future episode, either on the podcast or here, talk a little bit about the evolutionary path that we are on and the evolutionary cycle that we are on. We are fairly early into it, and we have a few thousand more years of major evolution progress before, and this will be a surprise to most of you, we turn the corner in our journey through the universe and devolution begins. Story for another day. Not to worry right now. Okay? One who looks not to the parts but to the whole discerns the purpose of creation, because the rivers of our lives are moving toward God. Thank you very much, Yogananda, for sharing that with us. As always, if you want to know more, you can go to my Wisdom Inspired Life website.com. Listen to the podcast there. You can always listen to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all the places you normally do. Okay? Well, if you've listened to this channel even a little bit, you realize I'm on a mission to inspire people to be more caring and compassionate, to deal with the needs and challenges that we face, and in the course of that, increasingly start living a wisdom-inspired life. Thank you for being part of that journey today, and I look forward to continuing the journey with you.